everybody. It is the Renegade Society Radio show, and we are here this evening with a very exciting guest, Christopher Chung, and with the lovely Danny Lowe here this evening as well, our Associate Marketing Manager. And we are going to be talking about a very exciting game coming up called Spell Smashers. So for those of you who don't know, Christopher Chung is the designer of Lanterns, the Harvest Festival, which is one of my favorite games, just absolutely wonderful. And we can't wait to see what else you have. So Chris, tell us a little bit about yourself. What other games have you designed? Where are you from? Whatever you want.
Sure. So I live in Toronto, big design group here. And we have a whole bunch of people who are, every time I go to Snakes and Lattes, I see more people. So there's a really good design group that we have. But I'm just one of the many who has a few successes. So for Lanterns was my first game published. And then I had done a little thing with Eric Lang for the Bloodborne card game expansion called The Hunter's Nightmare. That just released this year. And then I did a small little game for Christmas Likes the Card game, which just ended on Kickstarter a month ago, I think. Yeah.
Nice, nice. Yeah, it's really cool that you have such a good design group there in Toronto. Do you usually hang out at stores? Do you go to people's houses? How does that work?
Yeah, we go to Snakes and Lattes primarily, and then we have a couple other groups in Board Game Bliss, which is my favorite retailer in Toronto. And we had one at 401 Games, but eventually they're moving, so we'll have to find another time for that one. But yeah.
Nice, nice. And you actually work at game stores as well, is that correct? Or game cafes?
Yep, I actually try to balance two jobs at two different cafes. So one's at Riddle Room, which is more of an escape room, but does have a good selection of board games. And then one just opened up called Spielhaus, which is all board games, but the library is really, really good.
So hold on there. It's an escape room and a board game cafe? Is that what it is? Like all the fun stuff just in one big place?
And video games as well.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. So are you pretty awesome at escape rooms? Do you get out of those pretty fast?
No, I need help with those.
I've only done one. It was a blast. But yeah, they seem very hard.
We escaped.
We did escape. That's true. It was only barely, though. Nice. Oh, that's pretty fun. Oh, yeah. Ryan Skinner says that when you're stuck escaping the escape room, you can go and play board games instead. I agree with that. You could call Ryan. It's a pretty fantastic plan. Nice. Well, and welcome, chat room. It looks like we've got some great people in there this evening, so that's super fun. So really, Chris, it's great that you've designed all these other awesome games that I love and play. But I want to talk about Spell Smashers because I'm ridiculously excited about this game. We just announced this a couple weeks ago, and it is coming out this fall. And Danny just mentioned that she hasn't gotten a chance to play it. I haven't gotten a chance to actually play through the whole game yet, especially because you did a lot of design work with one of the other designers, TC Petty III, on this one. So I haven't seen this final version of this game. What do you want? Why don't you give us a brief overview of how it works?
Sure. So it's a word game where you're fighting monsters. That's the synopsis of it. So each player will have a whole bunch of letters in their hand, kind of balance of consonants and vowels, and then try to make the best word they can. They don't have to go through the longest word because you could be ultimately awarded for having short words as well. Then when everyone's ready, you kind of reveal your word, flip it over, and then announce it like loudly, like, I scored sword for 5, and 5 being your initiative. So whoever has the highest initiative will get to attack their monster of choice first. So you attack monsters, they can hit you back, and then you go back to town. You can boast about your battle scores, or you can go have kind of get help from the shaman because you're hurting a little bit. You buy gear, get quests and all that stuff. So yeah.
That sounds pretty awesome. So these monsters that you're fighting, do they have any abilities, or is there anything weird going on with them?
Yeah, so I actually thought of the monsters being kind of spiced up with what we're calling modifier cards. And so you lay a modifier card down with a monster, and rather than just being a with just being a griffin or whatever, or hippogriff. That's what we call it. A hippogriff is now a giant hippogriff or a deadly hippogriff. One of those adjectives that really make it more come to life, as well as give it a boost in stats so that it becomes harder to hit.
Nice, nice. And who did the artwork for this one?
The Miko. So I can't really say his name. Mihailo Dmitrievsky. I think that's how it's pronounced. Yes. So he did the Raiders of the North Sea trilogy. Awesome art. Quests of Valeria too. So honestly, I was stunned when we got him.
Yeah, I am just blown away with how awesome all of his art has been. It's really been quite a joy just being able to work on a project and have all of that art popping up in our Slack channel, and we get to see it every day. It's been so cool. So I can't wait to see it all in one place together. So this game has a board in it, even though it's primarily cards. What do you do on the board?
So the board for the main game is just a placeholder for cards and the little tokens that you can receive during the game. But for the solo version, TC Petty has graciously designed a solo variant for the game, and so it becomes more of a tower defense. So you actually use the board to fill the monsters with, or vice versa. You fill the monsters onto the board and try not to get the whole place ransacked.
That sounds awesome. We actually have a question from our audience. Artful Dodger is asking, any bonuses for spelling theme-appropriate words?
So that was a really common question from playtesters. Unfortunately, that was not my goal for this, but hey, who knows? I just wanted to get the core down and see how it works, but overall it works.
So some of the cards that you're using to spell with do have extra bonuses as well, even if they're not necessarily related to the word themselves. There are better things on certain cards, right?
Exactly. So I just use the 3 tropes of elements: fire, water, and earth, kind of like harking back to my Pokemon days of Charmander, Squirtle, and Bulbasaur, kind of inspired by them. And then each monster has a kind of weakness, strength, or absolute bite back, meaning that they will punish you for using some elements in your words. So you have to be careful as to what you're spelling anytime.
Nice. That's pretty good. Danny, did you have any questions? I don't want to take over. I'm so excited about this game. I want to keep asking more things.
So all I've done is read the rulebook. And one of the really cool things that I like is the wounds. Can you tell chat how the wounds work?
Sure. So I actually transitioned from a kind of like a slidey health track, and through development, we were like, okay, getting hit wasn't so bad, but what if we made it a little more cumbersome to get rid of? So we thought of having letters that are really hard to work with and put them together so that you can be awarded for using them and getting rid of them faster. But the more wounds you have, you actually have to visit the shaman at the end of the day. And so you'll lose one of your prized monster trophies, which kind of sucks. But it's your fault for not using your wounds. But yes, those wounds are really cool, and I'm glad I had that idea with TC. That was really cool.
Yeah, so it's combos like QU and ING. So you have to be clever to get rid of your wounds.
Exactly.
So I just want to make sure I'm understanding. So when you use those combos, they get like ING, it gets rid of a wound?
And also does damage to the monster as well. So you're kind of using your wounds to your advantage, but it's quite often that you can't use multiple wounds. I'm not saying it's not impossible, but very hard to use a lot of them at one time.
You have to have fancy words like queuing.
Yeah, something like that. There you go.
Nice. I'm going to use that one. Nice. That's exciting. So the first time I saw this game, we actually had a Renegade Summit a couple of years ago back at Scott Gata's house, and we had a whole bunch of people send in prototypes. Like anyone who wanted to pretty much could send a prototype to us, and during that weekend, we would try our best to get to it and play it. And I remember opening up the box for Spell Smashers, and it was like you just had a bazillion million crazy ideas and you just shoved them all into a box. And
Pretty
we were
much.
like, okay, we're not really sure what to do with this, but we like it. And
So
yeah, go for it.
yeah, the origin behind that, when I got the announcement of the summit, I was really excited, but I didn't really have any projects that was really done. So I think I played Spell Smashers maybe 3-4 times and said, okay, it has something. So there you go.
It was definitely a sort of do-it-yourself present. It was
Yes,
pretty exciting. But I also remember that there was just so much stuff going on and so many different ideas sort of being battling it out in that box, that it was cool to see you work with a developer and sort of watch that process, because you had all these great ideas and then TC had all of these ways to sort of streamline the creative force that you were putting behind it. So what was that like working with somebody else? Because I know you've done that before, like you worked with Eric Lane on Bloodborne, and I know you've had this great design community, but what was that specific experience like with TC?
Yeah, that was pretty interesting. So I also worked with Randy Hoyt from Foxtrot Games on Lanterns, because he did the development on that game as well. So with TC, he had to rein me in a few times, let's sort of say that, because I had quite a few playtesters who were adamant that things should stay in the game or be like highlighted more. But after his playtest, I had to follow his suit, kind of thing. But we always got to the right answer at the end of the day. So yeah, he was really good to work with, and now I know I can work with him again on maybe something else. We shall see.
So is that tricky when you have a whole bunch of designers who are really passionate about design, who are designing their own games and sort of thinking out from that direction? Is it hard to use them as playtesters? Because your average person does not necessarily fit into that category. So is that something you take into account when you're playtesting with that group of people?
Yeah, for sure. I know that designers come with their own bag of ideas. Whenever I playtest another friend's games, I may have my own ideas and my biases when I play their game and give them feedback. But overall, it's nice to know that designers are really open to helping you and helping the game grow as well. So with what I find with just regular playtesters who aren't game designers, maybe the level of quality feedback is not as in-depth or what we need as designers to make our game stand out. But with designers, you kind of have that double-edged sword of, okay, you also have come with a game knowledge yourself, so how will your ideas help my game kind of work for that non-designer audience? Because that's primarily what most of the game's customer base anyways.
Yeah, definitely.
So
I think that's a fine line, because you do want to make this game great so that the game design community and all of the hardcore gamers talk about it and are really excited. But designing a game like Lanterns is actually, I think, in a lot of ways, very, very difficult, because you design that in a way that anybody can play it. And that opens you up for such a bigger crowd. And the thing I love about Lanterns is that it actually is bringing people into this industry that never would have been here before. I love game designers, and it's super fun to see the crazy stuff they come up with. But finding something that game designers and regular casual players and totally non-gamers will play is really quite an achievement. So I'm excited to see how Spell Smashers does that as well. So is Spell Smashers a deck building game? That's the other question I've been getting.
Yeah, I know. It's I did not want to go the deck building route. It's a great route, and I have my personal. I'm a fan of Legendary, and but on that note, I'm also a fan of hardback and paperback. And so, considering the avenues to take this game, I'm like, I don't really want to necessarily not copy them, but heavily inspired by it. I wanted to take my own route, but I love paperback and hardback. Playing them is absolutely wonderful. So I just wanted to make a word game that stood out from those, but also kind of bridge the gap towards people who like combat, fantasy, and interesting ways to deal with both. Kind of not many games deal with word games and fighting games, so hopefully we have a good balance here.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that's exciting.
There's kind of an element of deck building in that. So we haven't posted the rulebook yet, so none of you know this, but there's 2 decks. There's one for consonants and one for vowels, and you get to pick which one to draw from on your turn to fill.
Exactly.
So
yeah, I kind of contribute that to hand management almost. As a designer talk, I'm like, hand management to me is like collecting cards and making what you will. For deck building is like making a deck and making how you work with it kind of thing. So yeah, semantics, I guess.
You have a bunch of cards and you play a game with them. We can leave it at that. It doesn't have to fit into a little box.
No.
Nice, nice. So anything else exciting about Spell Smashers that you want to tell us about?
Yeah, so I was kind of thinking about how quests interact with each other. So when I played, I can't remember which ones. I played Scythe recently, I would say a few months back, and I always was a fan of those asymmetric quests that people get, you know, keep them secret, and hopefully at the end of the day, you just reveal them and bam, you just bring it onto your opponent. So for when we're developing Spell Smashers, I kind of got the idea about, okay, how can I insert these goals that you can have and make it thematic? So like you're an adventurous town, so quests for sure, but also it makes you think about what your words will become, because your words could be the best thing on earth, but if they don't fit a quest, you're losing out on potential victory points at the game. So it's kind of this nice balance you have to have.
Very cool. I like having things in a game that direct players a little bit so you don't feel lost and overwhelmed, especially with a game that does have a little bit more opportunity for choices like Spell Smashers does. I think it can be a little bit easy to not know which direction to go into, and quests are a really good way to help you out with that.
Exactly. I think TC really nailed it with the design part. The development part. He was like, let's make the learning curve of the game super easy to start off. So when you enter town, that's the last part of your turn. So you have to make one word and then go into town, meaning that you don't see quests until the later half. So you get that first, okay, I'm making a word. Now let's get into more of the gameplay. And now these words will actually mean something.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. Anything else, Danny, that you were hoping to find out about Spell Smashers?
Yes. So the game has a bunch of monsters, and that's what I'm really in love with. We teased the images on BGG earlier this week, but I wanted to know who thought up the names for the monsters. Like, how'd you decide which ones to choose?
So I use GameIcons.net religiously. So for you aspiring game designers, game-icons.net, your greatest friend. And I was like, okay, there's a huge resource list of monster assets I could use, right? But then I realized that, okay, these monsters are kind of boring. What if I tied them to the alphabet? And so I went on Wikipedia to match up legendary monsters or fictional monsters by alphabet, and just scan through all the ones that seemed cool, seemed appropriate for kind of like a fantasy timeline and a medieval timeline, and just bam, put them in, and they sort of worked. But then the fine tuning came with TC was that I had to pick some monsters that were cool and also fit how balanced they were to fight. So the easier letters to use in your words later on, because they do act as monster trophies when you kill them, they actually become harder for you to kill. So for example, Shapeshifter, we announced, that has 1 billion letters in it, so its health is going to be really hard to hit, versus something like a Golem that, you know, G is somewhat harder to use than an S, so then we kept it to a shorter monster word. So yeah, it was kind of a good mix of development and design on that part.
That's super interesting. I didn't even consider the balancing. I just thought they looked super cool. But yeah, on BGG you can see pictures of the Necromancer, Shapeshifter, Bugbear, Golem, and Hippogriff. And if you stay tuned to the end of the video, you might see one more. Maybe know.
So Mike Paschal is wondering if you worked with the Miko to develop the monsters' appearances.
I had a few ideas on my own, but I really let the ball run with him. So it was his interpretations. I had some ideas, but what we did with Dan Bojanowski, the senior producer on the game and for Renegade, we talked about the art direction and what kind of inspiration I was looking for each. So going back to the what was a good one that we've announced, the Minotaur. I think we announced that, maybe. But I was just like, okay, make this Minotaur look cool and stand out from things. And Dan was like, sure, let's do it. He posted some references about the monster to the Miko, and he delivered, seriously. And so fast as well. It's crazy.
Yeah, I love it looking in the art channel for this game. Every once in a while, it would just be like so much stuff all at once. And we're like, whoa, how did you do this so fast? Like, this is amazing. And hey, could you do this one more little piece of art for us? And the Miko was always like, I love drawing. Just give me more. Yeah. Like, don't feel sorry. Don't feel bad asking for things. Just give me more to do. I want to draw it. Exactly. And it was such a cool response. Like, usually artists, it's a job for them and it's a lot of work, and they're usually very nice about it and wonderful and everything. But the Miko was like, please give me something else to draw. So that was cool. So also I noticed that all of the monsters have the first letter of their name somewhere on their body. Whose idea was that? That was cool.
That was totally mine. Easter egg, I will take credit for that. I was just like, okay, these monsters are, fancy looking, but what if they actually meant something to the player? So like, it's a little Easter egg that we hid some ones and made them super obvious for a lot of them. But so then when you use the monster itself, you actually feel like, okay, now I've got the power of the letter that I'm using from the monster. So it seemed really cool.
Yeah. No, when I first joined Renegade, that's when we were getting all of the art for the monsters. So going to work every day was such a treat. Like, wake up early to see what the Miko turned in today. But it was fun to see, like, where the hidden letter is, because it's not always super obvious. I will say that my favorite monster is the A. I won't tell you. A is awesome.
I love that one too. Yeah, that's good. Nice. That's awesome. Well, what else about Spell Smashers? So this is coming out in October. You can, anyone who's in the chat can pre-order it now off our website. We're going to have this as a big Essen release. So even though we have been super duper focused on Gen Con, we did want to have you on our show and chat about it because it's going to be here in no time. We haven't gotten any of the preview copies yet, but we'll be sending those out to reviewers pretty soon and posting the rule book and all sorts of fun stuff. It's definitely coming before we know it. So that'll be neat. What are you going to do with your copies, Chris? So as a designer, you always get a case of the game as part of your contract. What do you want to do with those?
They're here today, gone tomorrow. So if I get that X, I'm left with one because everyone else gets one from my family. That's the thing. Yeah.
That's awesome. So those will be Christmas presents this year?
Yeah, exactly. You get the same thing. But hey, it's because they've been supporting me throughout the way. I'm just like, yeah, here you go. That's
awesome. Do you have a big family?
Yeah, so more so on the extended family kind of list, but yes, a huge number of cousins and brothers, sister. I just recently got nephew. My sister had a baby boy almost close to a year ago, so now he's going to be playing games with me.
You might have to wait a few more years, but you're getting there.
Exactly.
Close. Very nice. Yeah, that'll be fun. I always like to know what people do with their extra copies, because 10 copies of a game sitting in your closet is probably no good.
Nope.
I like that.
But the also con to that is now I had to teach them all.
Oh, you're good at that. Chris, for anyone who hasn't seen him at a convention, works very, very hard and is always at our booth teaching lanterns. We're so sad you won't be at Gen Con. That would have been fun. Come have you teach some lanterns again.
Yeah, exactly. But, you know, now having 2 jobs instead of 1 is just like, okay, I got to put my nose to the grindstone just a little bit.
Yeah. Are you still in college?
Nope, graduated almost 2 years ago now. So,
oh, nice.
But because of my experience in board games, I was kind of a natural fit for the 2 board game cafes.
I'd imagine that worked out pretty well. Are you going to be at PAX Unplugged this year?
That is the goal. So I will most likely be there.
Nice. Well, if you're there, you'll definitely have to come demo and sign some games for us.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
I call dibs on one.
Sounds good.
Nice. I like it. Awesome. Well, that's all of our current Spell Smashers questions. But for anyone who has questions after the show or later, where would they find you to ask more about that?
Sure. So I'm more so on Twitter. I'm lurking on there. You can find my hashtag at CChungGames. That's CChungGames. I just spam random stuff.
You're very active on Twitter. It's fun to watch your feed.
Thanks.
Very nice. Well, moving on a little bit, Danny, I'm going to interview you now. So last week, speaking of conventions, you got to spend a couple of days at San Diego Comic-Con, which is just right down the street from where you live. So that was pretty easy probably to travel over there and check it out. What did you think of the show?
So that was my first Comic-Con, not even San Diego, just my first comic show. And it was pretty reminiscent of Gen Con. I went on Thursday and Friday, which are the slower days, and I was still like elbowing people out of my way and trying to march through the crowds. But it was amazing. Walking on the floor, I was trying to get inspiration for our booths in the future. And I took Scott with me. I'm like, I love this booth. The Nickelodeon booth is amazing. He's like, it's not happening.
Yeah, if you want to shell out your own $100,000, we could totally make that booth.
I understand. But no, it was really fun. We mostly had meetings outside of the convention hall, so outside on the patio, where we were surrounded by lines that moved like a foot every 15 minutes. That was strange. I can't imagine waiting in line for hours for something. Comic-Con is a little weird because they don't have any pre-signups. Like if you want to go see the Star Wars panel, you just have to go and stand in the line, which is interesting to me because it's a slightly different way to allocate resources. You're expecting people to pay their time instead of paying money to go and see these cool things. So in some ways, it's a little bit more of a democratic process. Like if you really want to do this thing, you're probably going to get to do it. It's just how hard do you want to try for that? So it's interesting to me, but it doesn't work very well if you're, say, working. You're not going to be able to spend that much time there. Yeah. So it's a different type of convention. I do like the way that some of them, like Gen Con, work, where if you really want to do this event, you have to buy the ticket for it, but then you know you can get into it and you can plan your schedule a little bit better. I know I've talked to other convention people that run conventions about this too, and there are benefits to doing that each different way. It's hard to say. Sort of like the Disneyland model where you show up and you can do whatever you want. You just have to wait for it versus the county fair model where you have to pay the carnival tickets every time you want to go on a ride. So they each have their own benefits. There was something super bizarre though, because I went to preview night, which is before the exhibit hall opens to everyone. And we had to stay in line for an hour just to get in. But then in order to buy things at certain booths, you had to have a ticket. like buying things was an event, which was bizarre. But
what did you see that was a special San Diego Comic-Con exclusive that people had tickets for?
Oh, well, like the Funko Pop booth,
Mm-hmm.
and the Hasbro booth.
Yep.
I wanted to buy from. I did end up getting my Funko.
I saw that.
Yeah. I'm an Asuka fan too, so yes, I hear on that one.
Yeah, so cool.
Yeah.
Nice. I know someone who never ever takes vacations except for once a year. He goes down to San Diego Comic-Con, he gets every single exclusive item he can find, and then he resells them on eBay and makes a ton of money, and that's his vacation. That's what he likes to do for fun. I'm like, okay, whatever, that's your deal. Crazy. So what else happened at Comic-Con? Anything else neat?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
T-Dragon happened. We didn't have a booth. Renegade didn't have a booth, but our partners at Oni Press had one, and they were featuring Scott Pilgrim and T-Dragon. So they had this really nice display for T-Dragon with the comic and the game and a pin and a super cute chamomile plushie, like the one you have on your shelf right there. Oh my gosh, it's so cute. They had to restock like every 15 minutes. Scott and I hung out at the booth for a little bit, and it was awesome to see.
Yeah, and then there were some awards too, right?
Mm-hmm. So the Eisner Award winners were announced at Comic-Con, and T-Dragon was nominated for 2 categories, webcomic and I think family comic, and it won the Eisner for both of those, so it's super exciting.
Yeah, that's a pretty big deal. That's, as far as comic books go, there isn't a bigger award that you can win, and they don't have that many categories. You can go look them up online, but I think there's only like 10 or 15 categories. It's not a ton. So winning in 2 of them is crazy good. That's really exciting. We had Katie O'Neill on here about a month and a half ago. So if you want to go and watch her interview, it was awesome. She is just such a cool lady. It was really neat to see her get recognized for all the great work that she's been doing. And it's fun to have a game based on her stuff. And more to come too. We're doing Aquacorn Cove next year. That'll be extra fun. The comic is coming out for that next year. Maybe
next year, the comic rulebook for T-Dragon will win the Eisner.
So in the game, we made a regular rulebook and a comic book rulebook because it's based on a comic and it's super cute. Nice. You should nominate it. I like it. That's pretty awesome. Yeah, well, that was very cool. I was super happy to see that. There was a lot of good stuff on that list. Like if you don't read a lot of comics and you're kind of looking to get into it a little bit, definitely go check out what was winning, because I think they had a more interesting list there this year than I've seen in the past. So that was cool. Lots of good stuff. Awesome. So San Diego Comic-Con, planning on going back?
Yes.
Nice. You weren't too overwhelmed? It wasn't too many people?
No, it was fun. And they had like pop-up shops in downtown. So I got to walk by all of the places I walk by every day and just see how they were transformed. It was fun.
Yeah, that's neat to be a local in a place like that. That's very interesting. Awesome. Well, next on our list of fun things for our viewers this evening is we have a new game coming out called Fireworks. And I actually just got my copy of this. I haven't gotten a chance to play it yet, and so I figured I would wait to open this until you guys were around. So I want to do a quick unboxing of this guy. So this is what the game looks like. And I'm not making it look unreasonably large just by how close it is to the camera. This is actually a really big box. For a $25 game, this seems crazy to me. All right, and then there's the back of the box. Do you want to, well, actually, I'll give a brief overview. So the idea of this game is very cute and very unusual. So you are trying to make your own fireworks display, and you do that by taking the die that's in this box and pouring it into the box where all of the fireworks tiles are. And those fireworks tiles are all going to be face down. So it'll look like the night sky. They're just all black. And then once you drop the die in there, some of them will flip over. And when those flip over, they'll have fireworks on the other side. Any that flip over, you can take and put into your tableau, and it's sort of a set collection game. So I wouldn't really call it dexterity because you don't have a lot of control over what happens when you drop your die, but it definitely has an element of that cool sort of tactile feel. There is box. Inside the box is, of course, black because you need that. We've got a rule book here. This is everything in the box the way it looks. So we've got this rule book, very simple. Pretty much anyone should be able to figure this out pretty fast. And then the different individual tile boards. So each one of these would be one per player. This is where you're going to put your fireworks tiles as you collect those. This is this is really silly and cute. So this is what you put the die into to pour it out into the box. And then this is the die. It's got little cat paw prints, little cat on there. I'm not 100% sure what the different sides of the die mean. I haven't read the rule book. Maybe it's something to do with how many tiles you take. Do you know, Danny?
No, I also haven't read the rule book. Gosh, you did it. That's how you play.
So you won't roll it into the box and not onto your laptop, though. Just a pro tip. There's also a big pack of cards.
That's pretty big.
And this definitely looks like an Aza Chen game. So Aza Chen is this fabulous designer in Taiwan, and he always makes really different games. It's clear that he is just on his own planet when it comes to game design, which I think is amazing. So he's done Cat Tower, Kitty Paw, Doggy Ghost, Shiba Inu House, and a few other ones that have not been released here yet. And this is going to be his next one from us. So we've got these character cards. These are so cute. I love the different characters in this game. Those are very cool. Art is awesome. And the other neat thing about Aza Chen is that he does all of his own art too. So he's drawing all of these cards, which is neat because for a $25 game, there's an unreasonable amount of art in this. Oh yeah, there you go. That's a picture of you dropping it into the box. I have a feeling people are messing with you. All sorts of crazy things that can happen as you throw it in there. This is going to be super ridiculous, I can tell. Either of you played Dungeon Fighter? You have, Danny, right?
Yeah.
That's exactly what I thought next to say.
Yeah. This reminds me of that. I love that game. It's so silly. Awesome. So there's a bunch of cards. And then you can see this is the inside of the box. It's kind of got this little tray in here, but this is our bag of tiles. And each one of these, I'll pull one out, they've got a black side and then a fireworks side. So we've got, it's not exactly black, it just looks like the night sky. It's got some stars on it. And on the other side, we've got some fireworks. Oh man, this looks like lanterns, Chris. They've stolen your idea.
Oh no, he's done it. The hex-based lanterns that some people wanted.
How dare anyone else use hexes in their game? Yeah, we've got.
But funny enough, before you announced this through Renegade, I saw some posts by Aza because I follow him on Twitter. And so when I saw this game, I was like, oh my gosh, you did it. Like, it's so cute.
I'm really excited to try this one. I may have to make my husband play with me tonight. And then these are, they look like helper cards. So it says when scoring, I'll show you this. When scoring your fireworks, only score those formations that are complete. Big fireworks score 1 point, even when incomplete. And then there's some big fireworks, some kaleidoscopes. Oh, geez. Those ones look cool. Kaleidoscopes, Saturns, small flowers, and special tiles. So all of those are going to give you different points based on how you have them and how they're arranged in your thing. And then, what's up?
Beautiful explosion in our night sky.
Yeah, it looks like, yeah, you're making pretty fireworks. The big ones are beautiful. That's going to look cool. Get them all together. Then again, there's the inside of the box. So all of those tiles are going to go in there. And then when the die drops on them, some are going to flip over. So I really like the inside of that. It looks really nice. And then the outside of the box on all four sides, you've got the cityscape, which is cool. And a big, hefty, really intense box. I guess it would have to be. But yeah, man, I'm so excited to play this one. I think Oz's games are always really fun, but this one looks especially strategic, which I'm always excited about. So, but it has an age rating of 6+, so I think it'll probably be pretty straightforward. Should be fun. Does anybody want to ask any questions about it? I probably won't be able to give you any answers, but I would try. No? Okay. Well, that one is going to be available at Gen Con. So we have some early copies coming in, but very few. If you are excited about this, you should come to our booth fast, because we originally planned on sending this via boat, and the boat got stuck in both the Chinese port and the Canada port for an extra whole week, and then also is now in Chicago waiting for the rail yard. So since we didn't know if it would be here or not, and we had pre-orders already for it, we decided to airship some copies in, but not very many. So if you want this game, please come fast. That would be smart.
Actually, I have an idea for Danny now that she's on marketing. What if there was a shot? Okay, imagine this. You put the box on the table and you have the camera pointing at the box. So when you drop the die from a distance, kind of force it down, you actually see the tiles flip up, and it becomes a array of fireworks that is 3D, kind of real life action shot. That could be really cool.
Oh my gosh.
Because I didn't know the box had a town in it. That's really cool.
Yeah, that's pretty neat. I like your idea. I'll see if I can make it work.
Sounds good.
It sounds difficult to do by myself, to drop the die. So Sarah might have to do that.
Yeah, there you
All
go.
right, sounds good.
That's awesome. I like it. I'll send that to you, Chris.
Cool.
Fun. So Danny, did you want to do a giveaway? We've had all these wonderful people here watching this for so long. Yes,
I do really want to do one. So what I'm going to do is share my screen, and I have a super special secret monster that from Spell Smashers that no one's ever seen before, except us before the you mentioned that each monster correlates to a letter. So it's up to you to figure out which letter that is. And the first person who correctly names the monster in chat will receive a copy of Spell Smashers. But in like 2 months when we have them. Are you ready? Can you see my screen?
Ooh, yep.
Monster that I'm showing you right now. So, right, there's a secret letter hidden somewhere. Whoever names the monster first gets a copy of the game. And I can't see chat, so Sarah, tell me to stop sharing my screen when someone gets it.
I will let you know. Not yet. Not yet.
It's cute and pink.
Oh, we have a winner. James Blanton. James, you are correct. John Paul, you were so freaking close, but unfortunately Pixie is correct and he beat you to it. So James, nice job. Send us an email after the show to customerservice@renegadegames.com, and we will get all your info and save you a copy for when it comes out. That's pretty awesome. So yeah, Pink Fairy, that was a good guess too. Pretty close. Pixie, I like it. Awesome. So speaking of games and when they're coming out, we do have a few that are coming very soon. Both Wendake and Circus Puppy, another game from Oza-Chen, are coming out at Gen Con, basically. So next Wednesday is the release date for those. They should be in all local game stores and at Gen Con on Wednesday, which is super fun. And then after that, we have Clank in Space Apocalypse. This is the very first expansion for Clank in Space. And this one adds schemes, which I think are really cool. And we just posted a great article by one of the designers of this morning in our newsletter. Right, Danny?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, so if you want to go learn all about this, definitely go check this out. I actually played Clank in Space Apocalypse with my game group last week, and we had a blast with it. Basically, every time you're drawing black cubes out of the bag, you, instead of just throwing them back in there, you actually take those black cubes out and you put them on a scheme card. And as you fill those up, the bad guy is doing stuff, taking away abilities or making the game harder for you. But if you take those black cubes off of the scheme cards using certain abilities, you can use those black cubes to now give you a bonus. So it adds a whole nother level to the game, which is really fun. Yeah. So definitely check that out. And then we also have Fireworks, which you guys all just got to see. The very first unboxing ever of Fireworks just happened. And that is coming out at the end of August. So Clank in Space Apocalypse is August 22nd or at Gen Con. And Fireworks is either at Gen Con or August 29th. And then, what's that?
In Clank in Space Apocalypse, there's going to be a new promo card for that game.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, if you're able to stop by and pick it up from us, we will have a new promo card for it. And you buy the game from us, but then Direwolf is actually going to be at Gen Con, and so you can go over to their booth to pick up a copy of your promo card and see what else they have going on. They also do all of our digital apps. So if you've played our Lanterns digital app or our Lotus digital app, they're the guys who make those. And they are amazing. So definitely go and say hi. Gunky Mono, we have talked about a little bit, and that is going to have some good media coverage early next week. We actually sent out a ton of reviewer copies for this, and we think this game is going to be such a big deal that we decided to put an embargo on the reviewer date so that they all weren't just fighting over when they could post about it. And that embargo date is on Monday. So you will all get to see a lot more info about it. And seriously, this game is awesome. If you've played the old game called Heartland, you kind of know what's up, but we've revamped it, done some math on it, and added a whole new theme and artwork, and it is gorgeous. So definitely check that out. What are you guys doing in chat? Kimono made of guns. I like it. Gun kimono. You guys are hilarious. Also at Gen Con, we're going to have Arboretum, which I can't tell you how much I love this game. It was seriously one of my favorite games all time. And when I heard that we actually were going to get to publish it, I was just over the moon. I cannot wait. It's going to be awesome. And so Arboretum, our version of it, coming out at Gen Con, and then also end of September. So if you want to have it for almost 2 whole extra months, you can pick it up at our booth. Overlight, Kids on Bikes, and Outbreak Undead, all 3 new role-playing games from us are all coming out at Gen Con, and then also in September and October. Those books are also, I don't have a copy of Outbreak Undead yet, but I've got, finally, this week, I got a copy of Overlight. It's a real, actual copy as opposed to the fake copy that I usually have up there. So that's exciting. And for anyone who backed Overlight this week, we sent out PDFs. So if you were part of our Kickstarter, now you have the PDFs of all of the special bonus content, the free RPG day, and the core book if you back that level. So definitely play it now. You can do that. Same with Kids on Bikes. The PDFs for that went out last week. And I think, did I miss anything? Those all of our releases?
For Gen Con?
Yeah. Okay, that's all the releases we can talk about right now. So if you want to find out more, you'll have to be watching our newsletter. There may be other secrets. We're tricksy like that. And also, if you want to come to our booth and see our designers, we have a ton of great events going on at our booth where people are going to be signing games and answering questions and chatting with people. It's going to be awesome. And we like to do that. We've had Chris do that a few times. This year, it is going to be bigger and better than ever. So we want to see you. You should come by. It should be good. And also one very last thing about Gen Con, on Friday at 1 o'clock, Dan Keene, the Game Boy Geek, is going to be doing a very special how to play Gunky Mono live with a camera above the board so he can show you everything as he's doing it. You can see his whole board. And one random person from every table is going to win a copy of the game. So if you would like to participate in that, it's going to be a blast. And you can sign up. There are tickets on Gen Con's site now. You can go do that.
Mm-hmm. One very last thing about Gen Con.
There's so much going on.
We're doing a convention-wide scavenger hunt.
Yes.
Yeah, it's super exciting. We're partnered with Hunters, so they're our partner for Kids on Bikes and Outbreak Undead. So this is a zombie survival scavenger hunt. So how you participate is either you buy a copy of Outbreak Undead and you get this, what is it called? I don't know how to speak English.
Basically, it's a sensor, and it's sort of like an RFID tag, except it uses slightly different technology. So if you are close to somebody else, fun things happen with it.
Yeah, so you're going to start off as a regular human with a blinking green light on your badge. If you come into contact with someone who's been infected, your badge will start blinking yellow, and you have 15 minutes to get to a healing station, which I believe is just at our booth. If you don't make it back in time, or is it at the events hall?
There's a few things. I don't know where all of them are, but there's going to be a map. They're going to be moving around. And also, one very fun thing is that we haven't announced this yet, but I'll tell you anyway. It's fine. So Scott is going to be wearing a badge that basically infects you if you get too close to him, because he's patient zero. He's where it all started. He's the worst. And I'm going to be a doctor. So if you get near me, then you get healed, of course. Which seems appropriate. Like, I legitimately did used to work in vaccine research, so makes sense, right?
Your whole career has led to this moment.
I went to 4 years of school for this. Yes.
But if you visit all of the stations in a day, you too will become a doctor, and then you come say hi to one of us and you get entered into the raffle, which has a bunch of cool zombie survival things in it. Yeah. So that will reset every day. It'll be lots of fun.
Yeah, the prize is awesome. It's called a bug bag, and it's basically like all of your survival equipment in there. And it's a really nice bag, and then all the stuff they threw in there is nuts. It's like hundreds and hundreds of dollars worth of survival gear that looked really nice.
Yeah, the bag itself is valued at over $200. So
yeah,
it's pretty sweet.
Like, if I won this, I would legitimately use this, like, going out into the wilderness all the time. It would be amazing.
I think it includes a machete and a tent and lanterns. It's a ton of stuff, and it's super cool.
Bit of advice, whether or not you plan on participating, please, if you come to Gen Con, make sure you bring a really big bag, because you'll A, need to check it if you win a machete, and B, you'll need to put all of your games in there. So make sure that you bring a big bag that you can check.
I'm kind of lucky I'm not going to win that, because crossing the border with a machete doesn't sound like a good time.
You'd be fine. Hundreds of dollars of bugs. Oh my gosh. Yes, a bug bag filled with bugs. I would like that. I love insects, so I'd be totally fine with that.
Oh, man.
Nice. So Gen Con, it's going to be fun. But if you can't make it to Gen Con, we are also participating in Gen Can't, which I think is a really amazing program that Suzanne Sheldon and some other people are involved in. And they put that together for all the people who still want to play games all next week. And we are taking one of each of our new releases, all of them, even the secret ones, and we're going to be sending those over to those guys for prizes. So if you want to still participate and have fun next week, Wendake and Circus Puppy will be in retail stores, and then Gen Can't will have all of our other new releases as possible prizes. So play some games. Doesn't matter if you're going to be there or not. Go have fun. Enjoy next week. I think that is it. Do we have a contest going on, a giveaway on our site right now?
Yeah, we have a contest going for Gunky Mono. So if you go to renegadegames.com/giveaway, then you can participate. It's super easy. There's like 7 different ways to enter, so your chances are pretty good. And that'll end soon-ish, I think.
Nice. And you'll definitely get an early copy. Oh, Eric is asking about information about Power Rangers. So Eric, we do have a Power Rangers newsletter if you would like to sign up for that. And you will not have to wait very long, hopefully, for more information. Yeah, I'm excited. It is basically 100% of my job right now. So we're ramping up. There's some good stuff coming. We can't tell you though.
Trying to find a link for you to sign up and for everyone else to sign up too.
Yes, it is varied a little bit. So we have 2 different newsletters. We have one that's just about generic Renegade stuff. Actually, we have several different newsletters. We have one for generic everything Renegade. We have one that's for our RPGs. And then we also have one for Power Rangers. So Danny is going to be posting those in there. Does anybody else have questions in chat? You guys have been awesome tonight. Thank you all for being here. Really makes it more fun. There you go. So yeah, go ahead and copy that. And does Google Hangouts not let you post links?
No, it was angry with me, so.
Man, Danny trying to skirt the system.
Over here.
Nice, nice. Well, thank you all so much. Chris, seriously, thank you for coming onto the show. It has been awesome to have you. I cannot wait for Spell Smashers. I think that game is going to just rock the house. It's going to be so fun to have that at Essen. And thank you, Danny, for all of your help tonight and for showing us all of the fun things like that pixie. That was awesome. And thank you, Chad, for being here. It's been fun. So good night, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday, and we will see you again in 2 weeks. Not next week, because it's Gen Con. The week after that, we will be here. Awesome. All right. Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Bye.